Welcome to the Once Upon an Island podcast, number 2 on the charts, number 1 in your hearts. I'm your host, Wesley, and of course, I am joined by my sassy co-host,
Madison.
And today, we're going to be ranking all 24 Survivor 50 players based on what we think are their chances of winning. I want to be clear, this is not a boot order prediction. We're not predicting who the first boot is. We're predicting who's going to win. So our number 1s are going to be who we think has the best chance, and our number 24s who we think have no chance. It doesn't matter if they reach Final 3 or not. If they're at Final 3, I don't think they're winning. I just want to throw that out there because otherwise we're going to be ripped apart. Like, you think this person is number 22? No way. That's not that. I just don't think if they reach Final 3 that they're going to win, or that they won't even reach Final 3 because of who they are. That's what we're going to say today. I just want to throw it out there. Madison, are you prepared to rank all 24 players?
I'm as prepared as one can be. I really appreciate the disclaimer you just shared, because true to all of that. But yeah, when I was thinking about this, I split it into 3 tiers and I went from there. This is oddly difficult. So if you haven't done this, you should try it and then cut us some slack.
Yeah, absolutely. In the comments, please rank all 24 players. And Madison and I both did the same thing. We didn't even collude on this. We both separated our players into 3 tiers. Like, for me, it was no chance, mid-level, and then like the front runners. And I have 5 front runners. Madison, how many do you have?
I did 8.
You didn't like an even split, I think. You did 8.
Yes,
on
I did
tiers.
thirds.
Right. I was just like gut instinct. I did not think mathematically at all on my tiers.
That's okay.
So when I ranked all 24 of my players, I was thinking, okay, what's their perception coming into the season? So if they came off of a season where they just won, the perception ain't great, if that makes sense. But if they came off a season where they did poorly or they were overshadowed by a lot of other people, that's a good thing for the perception. However, you also have to consider, can they even reach Final 3? That's another consideration. And then I think this was the biggest one for me is, even if they reach Final 3, what are their odds of convincing the jury to vote for them? Because I think some people, I just don't think they have a chance if they reach Final 3 of convincing the jury to vote for them. And at the end of the day, I'm not trying to predict 2nd and 3rd place. I'm trying to predict 1st. So, Madison, did all that come up for you as well when you ranked all 24?
Yeah, I would say I had all of that. Plus, I tried to think a little bit about the tribe splits. I know that's not going to be relevant the whole time, but it did impact if I thought you were going to be out pretty quickly.
Oh,
and
okay.
Frankly...
Oh, the purple tribe? Yeah.
Yep. I was about to say the purple tribe is a disaster tribe. So moment, I don't have high hopes.
Yeah. If you want to look at the tribe splits and everything, you just go on the Survivor 50 wiki, on the Survivor wiki, and you can see who is on what tribe and whatnot. But yes, that's how we're going to be looking at this as well. I did not at all consider tribe divisions because I'm doing a separate podcast with Rebecca that's already been posted on YouTube. But for those on Patreon, we actually recorded this first before that one, like a month ago. If you're on YouTube, we did this a month ago, just for context.
True.
I think that's fun to throw out there. So I'm doing tribe divisions with Rebecca, and in that podcast, we're going to more focus on pre-merge and how the tribe divisions are going to help or hurt people and whatnot, and how we're going to rank them within the tribes. But here, this to me was like, if they all were on the beach at once, what's happening, which I know is not really how it's going to happen. But we have Billie Eilish boomerang idols. We have the Mr. Beast
that
coin and briefcase. Like, what am I supposed to be predicting? You know what?
So who even knows?
I'm like, if they survive and make Final 3, that's really where I'm coming down to on this. Like, what's their perception, and can they reach Final 3 and then convince the jury? Like, I can't predict all the in-between madness of the season, as they've said so far. And then also pregame press, they're like, all those people that we featured, they're big fans of the show, and it's not that big of a deal, we promise. Like, okay, Survivor, sure.
Yeah, I saw that.
Damage control.
Yep, 100%.
Before we rank every single player, I do want to mention that we are doing the Survivor Fantasy game again this season. It's so much fun. Basically, how it works is you join the Once Upon an Island Patreon as a paid tier, and you can join the league. And in that league, you put 2 people on your team. So 2 of the 24 on your team, and those people will get you points throughout the season. And then you also get to pick who you think will be the winner pick. So even if you don't actually get the winner on your team, you can be like, okay, well, I think Q's going to win, even though Q's not on my team. And then if Q wins, you get points from that. And you can change your winner pick throughout the season too. You get less points the later on in the season you pick your winner pick, but you get to do that. Just throwing it out there. So the winner of the Survivor Fantasy League will get to pick any story video they want from Survivor, The Traitors, or The Amazing Race. I can't even veto you. You could pick somebody and I'll be like, yeah, it doesn't matter. You pick Dan Spilo. I don't care. I'll do it. that's your pick. If you want to win and pick him, go for it. But my point is that like nobody's restricted. That was really my point. So pick whoever you want if you win. Link in the description to join. There will be, I would say you have to join before the season starts for maximum points. You could join after week 1, but you'll have missed out on all those week 1 points. Madison, you played last season. How did you do?
Well, I could have done better. I didn't do great. I stayed towards, like upper middle level for most of the season, and then I lost my players, and I'm notoriously terrible at picking who's getting voted out. So pro tip, probably put your 10 points on who you think's going to get voted out for max points, unless you're like me. Then split them so you have a better chance.
What she's talking about is every week you get to predict who you think will be voted off, and you get 10 points to either split up between players, or you can put them all on one player if you want. So if you're like, oh, guaranteed this person's going next week, put all your points in that person. You might be right.
Which I confidently did incorrectly every single time.
I was splitting my points and it screwed me. I won the 46 fantasy league. I did not win 47, 48, 49. But I want to throw that out there because Mary was just like, screw it. I'm going confident picks. Mary finished in 3rd.
She did.
Overall.
She did so good.
Mary did fantastic. Best out of all of us last season. Rebecca, I believe, was top half as well. But you and I had Jake and Annie on my 49 team. Good. Jake and Annie did nothing for me. Jake got bit by a snake and Annie was voted off 2nd. My team was done. After week 3.
I had Nicole who threw up on screen and then got voted out. So first episode.
That should have been 20 bonus points from the throw up, though. That should have been.
Honestly, I mean, that was points. That was graphic.
Puking on screen plus 20 points. Okay, well, anyways, hey, if you want to join the league, the link in the description. It's going to be a lot of fun. I highly encourage signing up before 50 starts. And some people in the past have tried to join up like, oh, it's an hour till the season starts. Sometimes the website kind of crashes because everybody's trying to sign up last minute. I encourage you to do it not the last day. If you have to, you have to, but like try to sign up before the last day because sometimes the website gets a little wonky. And that's the only day of the year is the day of the premiere or whatever season premiere. It always gets a little wonky, but yeah. All right, well, let's move on to ranking our 24 players. First player is Angelina Keeley, has only played once, and that was on season 37, David vs. Goliath, where she finished in 3rd place. Madison, what do you think about Angelina?
Well, I'm excited Angelina's back. So if you listen to our video like a year ago almost where we reacted to the cast, you'll note I had not yet seen David versus Goliath. And I got so many comments saying that needed to be my next season. So it was. And I'm an Angelina fan. However, I don't think Angelina is going to win this game. To me, she is a character hire. I hope jackets come up. That will be a win to me whenever she is on this season. But just in observing how she plays, I mean, she did not win individual immunity at all that season. And frankly, I think she struggled a little bit with awareness of where she was in the team and in the tribe rather, and how she came across to people. And while yes, she did make it to the final tribal, she also got no votes, and I don't think anyone was going to give her a vote. Like, she went into that and I don't think there was a chance she was going to get one. So it's really a question of, did she learn from that? Does she realize how she comes across? Or is she just going to, find a place on this disaster tribe and not make it far? Frankly, I think she could make it far. I don't think that she could win.
So where do you have her ranked?
Where do I have her ranked? I have her ranked as lucky number 22.
Oh, wow, really low.
So she's not like the least likely, but I just really don't expect it.
She's in your bottom tier is what you're saying.
She is.
Right. For me, I view Angelina as, how do I say this? Kind of like what you were saying, I guess, with the not a big threat. Also, she would need to do a lot to reverse what people think about her. And I'm just like, is that going to happen? Can she do that? And at the moment, I just don't think so. I just don't think she can reverse what people think about her. I think she'll come into the season a bit aware of how funny people perceive her to be from her last season. And either she'll try to course correct that by not being funny, which we saw with like Coach on South Pacific, which I did not think was fun for multiple reasons. But one of them was Coach was no longer funny. And the other one is that she's going to lean into that she's a meme, and it will either be super cringe in a funny way or it will not be funny. So there's like 2 out of 3 chances she won't be funny, which is more what I was thinking about was doing her winner ranking, which I think indicates a lot of what I think about her going to the final 3 and winning. And to me, it's super low. All All right, so for me, I have Angelina ranked in my bottom tier as well, and I have her at, believe it or not, number 16, though I will say that for me, each tier is not interchangeable within the tier, kind of interchangeable. Again, I didn't have much to go on. And I know you think that she's on the bad tribe, so she'll be wiped out. I bet you she's on the bad tribe and she gets overlooked.
Well, I do think that. I'm with you there. I just think she's still less likely to win. And you'll find not because this is the disaster tribe that a lot of these people are lower tiered for me, but them being lower tiered for me makes me think that's the disaster tribe, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I will say everybody in my bottom tier, I just either don't think is going to reach Final 3. And if they do, they're not going to win. And it's not that the people in the bottom tier, some of them can't win at a Final 3. It's just the ones that can aren't going to get there, and the ones that do get there aren't going to win. So she's one of those where it's like, if she gets there, I just can't see her. Like maybe she gets second, but her getting first, like who's she sitting next to? I don't know. And people are going to do things this season that's going to hurt or help them. But at the moment, I'm just like, what is Angelina going to do? So, all right, let's move on to Aubry Bracco, who has played 3 times. Co-Wrong, she got second. Game Changer, she got 5th. And Edge of Extinction, she finished in a whopping terrible spot of, I got to actually double check because the Edge of Extinction always screws me up because it's like, what is your number based on where you were voted off, or is it because people got back in the game? So she finishes at 16th, though I think she made it further than that. It's just that Devens and Chris Underwood got back in the game. So she actually was voted off 2 spots later than that, but she actually finished in 16th because they got back in the game. So Aubry, Aubry played 3 times within a time frame of like 4 years, and then we haven't seen her since 2018. That was the last time she played.
Aubry's someone who I enjoy, but I think, upon reflection, I enjoy her seasons less as they go on, right? So like Calrong, love it. Love to watch her the whole way through. But by the time we're at Edge of Extinction, I'm like, Aubry girl, what is happening? And I tried to make some of these, well, not really some, but all of these ratings. I wanted to think about your last appearance specifically. I know that's not the end all be all.
It's a big part. And if we're looking
at, it is a big part. And frankly, Edge of Extinction to me is notable because you only had 4 people who had played before and then everyone else hadn't. And so that is a big tell of what you're going to do under pressure with experience under your belt, which I think it's not 1 for 1 with season 50, but I think it's similar. And she just, I don't think she was as observational as she had been in seasons past. Like there were things happening around her in Edge of Extinction that she frankly wasn't aware of. And if I recall correctly, she was voted out with an extra vote and an idol in her pocket because she was so comfortable when she shouldn't have been. And so I do think Aubry is the type who can learn and reflect, and I think that was her goal in Edge of Extinction, but I hope she's had enough time going into this season to be able to do that well. And so she is in my middle tier. I have her ranked as 16 though, so again, like you, these tiers are kind of interchangeable for me, but I did put her at the bottom of my middle tier because Edge of Extinction was just, it was a rough one. And so if I'm looking at her last season, it does not help with this season.
So I will say for Aubry, for myself, originally before I did make a video a month ago on YouTube called Who Will Not Win Survivor 50. And when I made that video, that's really when I came up with most of these rankings. And during that, I was like, okay, let's go in. What's your perception going in? Aubry, terrible last showing on Edge of Extinction. If she had last played in Co-Wrong, high threat. Like, I know it had been a while, but like finishing in second and in a season most people think that she was robbed on. Like, that's the general fan opinion. I watched that season with many casuals. That was their opinion. I know a super fan's like, no, Michelle earned it. I'm not saying she didn't. I'm just saying the general opinion was. And Jeff even admits it as so during Game Changers pregame press. He's like, if the fans had voted, Aubry would have won. And it's like, yes, that was the opinion. So I know we like to rewrite history and pretend that Michelle was so obvious, but that was not the case. Aubry, I'm not saying Aubry should have won. I'm saying that's perception. So she goes to Game Changers. Sure. She was a very quiet showing, makes it to 5th. Honestly, a couple of missteps causes her to miss that final 3 and hand it to the people. But she didn't really have much power that season in Game Changers either. I'm not going to like sit here and be like, oh, she should have reached final 3. Like, it was a couple of missteps. Also, Aubry never really had power in Game Changers. Gets 5th, though, nonetheless. Then on Edge of Extinction, she's made to look a fool. That season felt like it was set up for those returnees all to bite the dust. Like, all 4 of them did not have a chance, it felt like, from the beginning. Especially the tribe she was on, because the tribe she was on was painted as these returnees have already had their shot multiple times. So we cannot give them a chance. Whereas the other tribe was just so disastrous that somehow Kelly Wentworth and David Wright kept making further than they should have. But anyways, my point is Aubry and Joe were dead in the water on the tribe they were on. And so the one time they go tribal, Aubry bites the dust and they do make her look a fool. And I'm like, perfect. That's perfect going into 50. Her perception is much lower. Here's the thing. If Aubry can turn it around and be like co-wrong Aubry or game changes Aubry, but like better, like an improved version. So I'm just saying back to how she was the first time she played when she reached second, but improved obviously because she is older and has played now this is her fourth time. I think Aubry has potential to reach final 3. The question is, can she do what she didn't do the first time? Can she reverse the curse, go silent style, and actually convince the jury to vote for her? And I think a confident Aubry who's more mature could convince the jury to vote for her. And I have her ranked number 2.
Wow. Okay. That's very different from me. I'd love to see it.
To be clear, though, had the last time she played been co-wrong or even game changers, I would not have her ranked that high. But a large part of that is nobody's entering the season thinking Aubrey's a threat, except for Q. And I don't think Q is going to have the power Q thinks he has. Like Q and Aubry in the same tribe, Q's going first. Like no way people are going to be like, let's work with Q to get out Aubry versus let's work with Aubry to get out Q. I'm just saying. Like it's going to be a fun thing, but Q is not going to beat Aubry. If he does, by the way, hilarious. I'll eat my words and I will laugh about it because that is hilarious if Q wins. He's like, whoa, last time I played with Mariah and she's like Aubry, but now I'm playing with actual Aubry. The scariest person I could play with. Yeah, so it's real this time. So Aubry for me is number 2. A lot of that is based on the fact that I've seen her go to final 3 where I thought she actually did a pretty good job at the final tribal. It's just that the jury wasn't on her side. And then after the season, the jury, a few of the jury members were like, oh, if we had watched the season, we would have voted for Aubry instead of Michelle. And it's like, wow, that says a lot. So
it does.
Not going to go super in depth on that here, but that's basically what I think about Aubry. Number 2, she could be anywhere in the top tier for me, but number 2 is where I have her right now. All right, let's move on to our next player. Our next player is Charlie Davis, last played in Survivor 46. Finished in second in a season, kind of like Aubry, where many people viewed him as robbed. I think Kenzie earned the win, but I definitely understand the perception of Charlie was robbed because Maria, in theory, should have voted for Charlie. And then Ben would have been the deciding vote on the split and then picked Charlie is what he said in his post-game press with Jeff. So that Charlie's entering the season as should have won Survivor 46 in some people's minds. Big threat, like right on the cusp of winning. What do you have about Charlie Davis?
I like Charlie, and I'm just going to come right out and say it, that Charlie is my number 1. I think Charlie is the one who could do this more than anyone. You're right, talking about, that comparison, I think, of him and Aubry and the jury, with Maria, not being happy with Uncle Charlie. But he's great at puzzles. He builds great relationships. I do think, kind of to your point with Aubry, but in the opposite direction, I do think he's got an uphill battle because I think I don't have an unpopular opinion. Many people think Charlie could have won, and some people think he should have won, but I'm with you on Kenzie winning. But I think if Charlie can find his people and he can make it post-merge, he stands a fair shot, and I think his likability is going to help him with that. I also think it's interesting, he's playing on season 50 with Christian, who he originally said he would play like. I don't know if I think he necessarily did, but I think he's got a lot of people that he could work with, and some of my rankings, with these new era players was how well can they mesh with the old era? And I think Charlie is someone who can do that well. He's not, he's not a Q. He's not a crazy character. He's someone who can fit in. And so I think if Charlie can successfully stay under the radar and make it post-merge, I think he's going to do just fine. And so he's my winner pick for this.
Wow. Holy cow. Though I will admit my winner pick is very biased, as we'll get to when we get to them. For me, I'm biased. But Charlie number 1, wow. I have Charlie ranked down in my bottom tier at 21. Now, here's how I view Charlie. I view Charlie in almost the same tier as the people coming in the season who have won. And I believe Charlie will come with this perception of should have won, which is almost as bad as having won. And I think because of that, he's gonna be a pre-merge boot. Like, Charlie, get rid of him. Like, I don't know. I just can't see Charlie being taken to the end. And because he's not going to be taken to the end, he's going to get sniped. Charlie put on a good final tribal performance. He got screwed by Maria, and Maria just come out and said, "I voted for Kenzie because I'm being petty." That would then that would people would be more accepting, but people would still be like, "Why didn't she vote for him?" But anyways, my point is that Charlie, I think, has the perception of should have won, and therefore will be viewed as a big threat. And I do wonder how this old era versus new era will split, because on Winners at War, there was more at that time new era winners than old era winners based on how that was split up. But this time they're evenly split. And I wonder, okay, if the new era takes control, I can see Charlie doing just fine. But if the old era takes control, Charlie's dead in the water. And I just think Charlie, isn't he? Which tribe is he on? He's on tribe. He's the only person on a tribe. Believe he's the only person on a tribe with someone else from their season, and that to me is another reason to vote them off. One of them needs to go, and I don't think it's going to be the other person from 46. I think it's going to be him. I think he's the one to take out between two of them on that tribe.
To your point about the tribe, though, I feel probably the most confident about the blue tribe in terms of, like, are they going to make it farther? Obviously, we don't know when tribe swaps will happen, or, you know, whatever they're going to do, swapping to 2 tribes and then back to 3 as they did in the last season.
Oh, there's definitely going to be tribe swaps. I mean, at least one.
But I think as long as they're in their starting tribe, I actually do feel decent about him.
Right. I if the purple tribe goes the way we think, also it's a returnee season. We want to see them interact with each other. So to have them all sitting on the same tribe for like 6 episodes would be so lame. And it's not out of Survivor's mindset to do that, but it would be super lame. So I am anticipating at least one tribe swap, hopefully from 3 to 2. That would be most ideal. It gives a lot of opportunity for people to interact with each other who didn't, versus keeping it at 3. So, all right, Charlie for me, number 21, for you, number 1. So we're definitely not agreeing on that.
Very
one.
different.
No, that's okay. Our next player is Chrissy Hoffbeck, who last played on season 35. Not trying to say that name. Every time I do, I trip over it. Heroes versus Healers versus Hustlers. That's your one time. She finished in 2nd place. And in my opinion, no matter what on that season, she was finishing in 2nd place based on that Final 4 fire making. I think Devin wins that season. And I don't think she beats Dev. I don't think she beats Devin. She clearly didn't beat Ben. I think she was destined for 2nd no matter what. Chrissy, though, I know a couple years ago, she posted on her Instagram about how she had to get a double mastectomy and get surgeries and whatnot, and has had health stuff. I don't know if that's going to affect her, because last time she was kind of a challenge beast. She won 4 individual immunities, and was kind of running the season. If it wasn't for Ben finding idols, Chrissy was like the one immune all post-merge. Her and Ben basically were immune all post-merge. So Chrissy, I don't know if the perception will be that she got robbed. I think perception will be she got 2nd. But honestly, season 35 was so long ago. Like, is that top of mind? I don't know.
No.
I don't know.
Well, in that season in particular, also, I don't think would be top of mind.
Right. It's a mid-season is what it is. It's a very mid-season.
Yes.
So what do you have on Chrissy, Madison?
Yeah, so I'm with you on Chrissy being a challenge beast, holding that record alongside Savannah this season of having the most individual immunity wins as a woman, holding 4. So that's very impressive. Would love to see her post-merge and see that happen again. I'm with you. I don't think that she was going to win her season, but I also think that season is not a top-tier season that people are going to look back on a lot. And if I remember correctly, she doesn't have anyone else on that season on this season. So she is flying solo from her season. I think that helps her. And I think it being, I wrote forgettable season, maybe that's too strong of a phrase, but it being a forgettable season, I think that also works in her favor. I do think from her first season, though, that sometimes she came across in a way that wasn't her goal. I mean, to me, she seemed genuine, but I think to her tribe mates, perhaps she didn't. And so if she can fix that a little bit, I think that will help her, especially with the new era folks being so intent on being real. That's something she's going to have to adapt to. But like you said earlier, who's going to run things, the new era or the old era? But for me, she's mid-tier, and I have her sitting at 14 because I think she could go either way.
I have her mid-tier as well. I have her at number 8. I do believe Chrissy can improve upon her final trial performance and convince a jury to vote for her. I do wonder if she can reach final tribal. I think that's my bigger question versus can she convince a jury? Because I do think she's older, she's more mature. She's probably learned, I would hope she learned lessons from her last time playing. And I think because of that, she'd be able to convince a jury on this season to vote for her. Also, I got to point out that this season, most of the players are older because it's a returnee season. And I think it's important to note as we talk about some of them, because I think an older jury is going to respect older people they relate to more than younger.
True.
Just throwing out there. I know Chrissy is still on the older end of this season, like she's same age as Cirie, but just want to throw that out there. I think the jury in general, though, I mean, there are a lot of new era players, so it depends on who's dominating the jury. Is it old era, new era? Because it's new era, 30s. If it's old era, 40s and 50s, honestly.
They can surprise us, so. But I could see it.
Yeah. All right. Chrissy, for me, number 8. For you, number 14. Our next player is Christian Hubicki, who is probably the person I've been wanting back the most. I mean, Angelina was up there, but Christian from Dave vs. Goliath, especially. He was on Dave vs. Goliath, finished in 7th, and I think he's going to have the same problem this season he had last time, where he's just so dang likable. Like, it doesn't matter what perception is coming into the season. He's just so dang likable. People are going to be on the season like, shoot, I can't let Christian sit next to me in Final 3. He's just going to, like, charm the jury, you know? He's going to charm them, and he's going to win. But, like, I could also see Christian maybe toning it down just enough to blend in for a while. I don't know. Like, I'm mixed on Christian. I really like Christian, so I'm biased. What do you think about him?
I'm with you. Christian is probably one of my all-time favorite players now, but I think he's so good at being adaptable, and he very clearly observes things and tries to learn from them, which is where I hope that he can see how likable he is. And I'm not saying like be less likable, but be aware that that could be something to get him taken out. I think he's utterly brilliant. I'm excited to see him on a tribe with Emily. That's a combo that I'm really looking forward to. And I think that's a benefit to him. If I had to rank the tribes specifically, I would put his tribe right in the middle. And so I think, at least in the beginning, that offers him some safety. But I could see him successfully being under the radar, at least for a little while. I think he's the type who can kind of chameleon his way into things. But like you said, I think his detriment is going to be how likable he is. So what is he going to do with that? So not a lot that I would add that you didn't already say, but I do love Christian and I've got high hopes. And so because of that, I have placed him at number 4.
Wow, number 4. I have him ranked at number 9. So he's in your top tier is what you're saying.
He is in my top tier. I think he could do it.
He's in my middle tier. I really like Christian. I'm looking forward to him. Can he pull it off this time? I just don't know. I really want him to. Like, that would be a lot of fun. I'm worried about him having the same problem again, where he's just so dang likable. And while he might enter the season, people overlook that because it's been so long since Dave vs. Goliath. I can see people just like realizing it. Like, oh, I love Christian. That's a problem. So
true. But you know what I think helps people like Christian who are a bit quieter is you've got some really loud people on this season.
Oh,
and I'm curious to know, like, Colby, Cirie, Ozzy, like, are you guys going to want these loud people around? Because I think the answer is no.
And
I do think that helps Christian. No, I'm saying Colby is someone who wouldn't want someone loud.
Oh, okay. It's like Colby's not loud.
Like, Colby is not going to want Q around. Let's be real.
Yeah, we'll get there when we get there. Let's talk about Cirie. Cirie is on the same tribe as Christian. I'm not really talking about tribes, though. She has played on, let's run through these seasons. Cirie played on Panama, where she finished in 4th by losing in fire. Played on Micronesia, where she finished in 3rd because she couldn't do the challenge where she had to hold the balls, like it was with her wrist. And I remember earlier in the season, she's like, there's a challenge where it's like having steady hands and I lose. Like, I need to drop my nursing license. Something like that. I'm paraphrasing. And then she loses a challenge later in the season, which is about steady hands. Loses in 3rd. Heroes versus Villains goes out pre-merge. Game Changers goes out due to Advantage Getting. And Jeff to this day still says he loves Advantage Getting. Get out of here, Jeff. Australia versus the world. I mean, hi. Welcome to like 5-6 months after the season happened. We're going to talk about it. She finished in 4th. She lost in fire. Again, it all came full circle on Panama and Australia versus the world. I also got to throw out there that she was also, besides Survivor, was on Big Brother 25, where I believe she finished in 5th or 6th. I'm double checking right now. Or I believe there's another podcast where I said the wrong placement. She finished, I believe, in 5th, top of my head. She did pretty well, but she definitely gave up about halfway through the season. She's like trying to quit, and apparently the show had to convince her not to leave. And she was trying to quit around day 40, which I thought was like, yeah, that's probably how much stamina she has. A Survivor season.
Valid.
Yeah.
It's a long show.
It is quite a long show. She did finish in 5th, yes. I don't think she was winning, though, because she would have needed to win a challenge or something. Anyways, so Cirie that season does that. Snake in the Grass, she wins. But to be fair, she was against Stephenie LaGrossa, and Stephenie LaGrossa was a horrendous, and I do mean horrendous snake. Like the show had to re-edit it itself to show that Stephenie was a snake halfway through the episode when they normally don't do that. Like they don't ever tell you the snake is till the end of the episode, but Stephenie was so bad they had to tell us. That's how awful she was. And then she won the Trader season 1, which was, I gotta admit, the challenges made zero difference. So it was purely a social game. And yeah, Cirie dominated the social game, which is what we expect. So what we've seen is that Cirie, over the course of everything, is still bad at challenges. She still couldn't pull off a fire making challenge, but shoot, she's great socially, which makes me think she's going deep. But then like, can she please win fire making or something? Come on, Cirie, help me out here. I want to put Cirie in my top tier, but I can't. She's number 6. She's at the top of my second tier. What about you?
All right. Well, if you can't put her in your top tier, I'll put her in mine. So Cirie, to me, yes, she's a social beast. She's not going to win individual immunity. I'm glad to eat my words. I'd love to see it happen. I don't expect it. But I think she'll orchestrate your ending gladly. And so she is such a strong social and strategic player. And she's proven from all these different shows, I think, that she's still got it. She knows how to be loyal, but she also knows when to cut you. I think if you can survive Big Brother for as long as she did, I mean, that's some points in your book. But I think too, you know, just the people that she's playing with, again, because that is relevant to how I did my rankings. I think she's got a good spot with the tribe that she's at. I think, you know, she just keeps learning. And what's interesting for me, you know, I said earlier, I look at their last season. It's kind of hard to do that with all the shows that she's been on, but also just looking at her track record of seasons. I mean, 4th, 3rd, then 17th, then 6th. So I think she's a little bit of a wild card in where she'll place, but you don't want her to go far because if she does, she's got a chance and I'd like to see it. So that said, Cirie is my number 3. It's bold and ambitious.
Yeah, Cirie's just like, I was really hoping Australia versus the world, if she had won that fire making, I feel better about her, but because she lost it, I'm like, dang, dude, come on, man. Like, this isn't, you know, it's like, I really want Cirie to win. And I feel like we got that with the Traders, but I really want her to win Survivor. Yeah. So,
well, yeah, that's where she started.
She's so good. Like outside of Heroes versus Villains, she just gets so far every time. So yeah, number 6 for me. All right, our next player is Coach. He played on Tocantins, Heroes versus Villains, and South Pacific. Tocantins was the season most people remember him for because he was such a goober there. He finished, believe it or not, it's hard to remember, but he finished in 5th. He got really far. He did. Heroes versus Villains, he goes out pre-merge. I'm sorry. Not pre. Yeah, no, it was pre-merge.
It was
he somehow
pre-merge.
made the jury. Yeah, because that season was weird on how they did the jury and pre-merge. So he made, and he also cried because Sandra said he wasn't doing any work around camp. And he's like, I'm doing the most amount of work around camp. And then when he gets back to camp, he's like, Tyson, why doesn't anybody take me seriously?
It's the coachy.
That's the Coach I love. The Coach we saw in South Pacific that got to the final 3 and lost to Sophie because he was just too proud and too coach to just talk honestly about his game is the Coach I'm afraid that we're still going to get. He might be older, more mature, but I just didn't see, and I know those 3 seasons he played on were in a short time span. I just don't know if Coach has matured enough to, if he gets to the final 3, can he own his game? That's my question. I think Coach is going to be leaning into the Coach character so much, which is what he already does. I put him at 14. I'm not sure if I can see him going final 3 and convincing the jury to vote for him. Honestly, that's my worry. If he gets to the end, can he convince the jury? And I just don't know.
Yeah, I honestly have very similar notes on Coach. I enjoy Coach as a character for the most part. And I think, like you said, he struggles to own his game. Like, for instance, you know, preaching honor a whole season, but being deceptive a lot of the time and then not acknowledging that. If he simply would have done that, who knows what could have happened. And I find it kind of hard to believe that he's going to shift from that because I don't know. He's a toss-up, right? Because from season to season, there are variances in how Coach plays, but at the same time, overall, you are getting the same person. And so like you, I don't think he's going to win. I would be very surprised. And I actually ranked him quite a bit lower than you at number 20 because I really just don't see this happening for him.
I struggle. I could see him reaching final 3. And there is a world. It's been so long since he played that he could pull it off. Like last time he played was, I think, 13 years ago or something like that. But I don't know. Like, I just struggle. Like, it's been so long, but I've never seen any evidence of like Coach being able to like just be honest about himself and being like, yeah, guys, like this is me, but also I'm aware of what you think about me. And I did X, Y, Z, you know, like they're going to do some sort of, instead of like, he's just like, he's Coach. He's a character. He's Coach. He's Coach. Right. And so, yeah, I have him at 14. All right. Our next player is Colby Donaldson. Played on Australian Outback where he finished in second. Would have won had he picked Keith to go to the final 2, but he picked Tina instead. And he's never vocally regretted it at all. And I don't think he actually regrets it. Went on All-Stars, went out pre-merge, though I will admit he was very entertaining on All-Stars as well. Like he was still peak Colby, where he goes out pre-merge, but it's really because there was a vendetta from Jerry Manthe to get him out. By the way, Jerry Manthe not being on the season. It's like we have the peanut butter of Colby, but where's the jelly of Jerry Manthe? It's not right. We're missing the jelly. Colby Donaldson is peanut butter. Jerry Manthe's jelly. That they need to go together.
And we need her.
Right. We need the jelly. We just have peanut butter this time. So on All Stars, he goes up pre-merge, but he was very entertaining. He was maximum effort there. He was still Colby. Heroes versus villains. Colby does not care. Reaches fifth place. He really doesn't. Did not care. Tried to quit twice, from what I recall. Literally doesn't know who some of these people are in the season. I still find it hilarious. He's like, Candace, you know who these people are? And she's like, well, I don't know them, but I know of them. He's like, who's Cirie? And it's like, Colby. Have you not watched the show since All Stars? Which is exactly what I think happened. Colby around that time was like, he's about to host Top Shot. And I believe he was still doing a bunch of TV stuff. So he was like probably too busy, quote unquote, for Survivor. If that makes sense. Too good, too busy. So he gets asked back. He's like, sure, I'll play again, but like doesn't know what's going on. He's clearly catching up, which I find hilarious. So if Colby comes into 50 and is the Colby from season 2 and 8 where he cares about what he's doing and is charismatic, Colby could win. Like, believe it or not, I think Colby could reach final 3 and Colby could win. Put Colby, but the jury does need to consist of more old schoolers than new schoolers for Colby to win. If the jury is mostly new schoolers, I just don't see him getting the respect. So like there is that factor. So the Colby reaching final 3, I would run under the assumption that the old schoolers won the battle between the two eras, and Colby wins, reaches final 3. Like Colby has potential to get there. Colby has the charisma to get there. According to Tina Wesson, outside the game, Colby's actually been watching the show and cares about it, and Colby currently is not like super busy on TV or anything, which means Colby has more time now, which maybe he's like, shoot, let me go back to the thing that actually made me popular and I should care about it. I think Colby could win. I have him number 1 and I know I'm biased, but I have Colby at 1.
I'm impressed.
What do you think about him?
I did not do the same. Yeah, so I have very similar notes, particularly about Jerry. Like, is that what he needs to truly blossom? Is for Jerry to not be on his season? I don't know. We'll find out. But I think heroes versus villains, if I were Colby, that is not how I would want my Survivor story to end. Because frankly, you know, me being me, this is the running gag on this show, even though it's real. I liked watching returner seasons first. I know that's a problem. But alas, when I watched it, I think the interesting thing about doing that is you get to learn the reputation of people without seeing it for yourself. And then you see the season that they're on to see if they live up to that reputation. And so for heroes versus villains to be my first season of Colby, I did not feel like he lived up to it. And so if I were Colby, I would want to fix that. So it's good to hear per Tina that he is watching, because I think Colby is the type who's going to try and fix that. He's going to try and correct it. I'm with you that I think he needs old school people to be the majority once he gets post-merge.
On the jury, right.
Yes, yeah. Because I think there are some people who can flex between the eras. I don't think Colby is one of them.
No. Colby is old school.
So because he's all the way old school. And so because of that, he's the top of my middle tier, and I have him at number 9.
Colby would be like, what's a beware advantage? I could just see him like being,
true.
Even though he's like watching these and be like, Candace, what's a beware advantage? Candace isn't even there. Candace, what's a beware advantage?
But he's talking to her.
Candace, it's day 24. What do you mean we're at final 5? Colby played on a 42-day season. He should have the stamina to knock out 26 days. I'm just saying. Colby,
I believe he can.
I'm really looking forward to Colby. Hopefully I'm not overhyping him. I might be, but just Colby caring about what he's doing is so much fun to watch especially on All Stars, where I felt like that was his most free. Like when he played and he cared was All Stars. Like he was the most free.
Yeah.
He cared. He didn't like Australian Outback. I think there was so much worry about perception of what people are going to think about you on that season after Borneo. But All Stars, I don't know. I think Colby was just like, people love me. I'm Colby. and I'm having fun. And I want that Colby on 50, even though that was his worst performance.
Here's the real question. Will history repeat itself and people start naming their babies Colby again? Because I do remember that happening at the time. There were so many baby Colbys.
Like Colby said in Heroes vs. Villains, I remember dogs being named after me and be like, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
That's true.
I'm looking forward to maximum effort Colby. Hopefully I'm not disappointed, but yeah. All right, let's move on to D from Survivor 45. D is a past winner, and to me, she's not winning. She's not getting to final 3. That's the problem. It's not that she can't win, obviously. It's that she can't get to final 3, which is, I think, that my actual concern for all 3 winners. So D is ranked number 22, and I only put her above the year 2 winners because her win was the furthest away, but again, it was like 2 years ago. So I'm not, if she won, and people are going to know that. So D, number 22, what do you think about D?
I'm similar to you. I put all of the winners in my lowest tier, but I didn't put them at the very bottom. Frankly, I put them above who I considered character players. So for D, though, she is the least likely of the winners to win, in my opinion. I think her gameplay, I'm going to say it, as we always say, I think every winner deserves their win because clearly the people who were on the island with them voted for them to win.
Right.
But for D, I think she had such a specific set of circumstances that helped her get there. I don't think...
The Lulu tribe?
Yeah, true. And then her before. The collapse of Yellow Tribe, man. I'm telling you, every time I think of that season.
When Sean joins Dee's tribe and then Sean's just like, yeah, I'm quitting. Like that was a huge help because they were going to tribal.
Yeah.
Not that she was going, but just like a freebie.
But like, again, I'm not saying she didn't deserve it because, I mean, you can listen to me on other podcasts on this channel. I think Dee deserved her win and I'll give reasons why. But for this particular podcast, I would say I don't think that those things that helped her win are going to be replicated. I don't see her getting another Reba 4. I don't see her getting another Austin. And those things, frankly, helped her win. So I don't expect her to make it far already because she's a winner and they're not going to want winners to win again. And I think she's great at individual immunity. So if she made it post-merge, sure, she could make it farther. But she's got such an uphill battle to convince anyone to vote for her to win. I just don't expect it. So like I said, I did put her above who I considered character players. Still don't think she's going to win, so I have her at 19.
Wow. Okay. D for me, number 20... All that explanation, and I had D at 22, and you were like, well, 19. Okay. So we're both in the same boat. She's not winning because no one's going to let her reach final 3, basically.
Yeah, that lower tier, frankly, they're not winning, but we organize them of just how much they're not going to win.
Yeah. All right, well, let's move on to our next player, who is Emily Flippin. Flippin Emily, Survivor 45 as well. Last time she played, went on a journey. Kind of like Aubry's first season, and another player we'll talk about later, who basically the first season was a journey for them where they changed as a person. And she finished in 7th, finishing the best from that Lulu tribe, that mess of a tribe. Emily coming into this season, I think her perception is just going to be, yeah, Emily. Yeah. But like, I don't think that's a threat.
Flippin' Emily.
Like, Flippin' Emily. Yeah. Emily Flippin, financial analyst or whatever she calls her. I know it's her job.
Yes.
Her meme that she does on
It's
Instagram.
just her face. Emily Flippin, financial analyst.
Financial analyst. Yeah. Emily Flippin, I am flipping pretty middling on her. Like, I don't know if what she does in a final 3. I think she does fine. Again, I think she's a pure new era player where like she needs a new era jury. Whereas I think somebody we'll talk about later, Joe, would actually thrive on an old era jury. Like having that jury on up there. So it does matter a bit who the jury is. Emily, for me, I have ranked at 13. She's in my mid tier. I struggled to see her reaching final 3 because I'm not sure what I mean, I guess Emily could be brought there, but like, does she win if she reaches final 3? I'm very much like up in the air. I don't know. I feel like I didn't get enough evidence her last time playing to really piece together, can she win? And so because of that, I have her about middle at 13. What about you?
So she is in my high tier, but she's at the bottom of it. I think Emily is the type of player that, you know, she's not going to start the way she did last time because, frankly, in 45, she was not well liked at first, which was understandable given some of her behaviors. But she showed very quickly she was adaptable and she became someone who could be a strategic player and form relationships. So I think for 50, she's not going to start the same way. I would expect her to start from where her growth was in 45. And so because of that, I think she's another one of those under the radar players who's going to last a while. And then suddenly you realize, oh no, she's actually built a resume, and you've got to get her out. Now, because she was 7th, I don't think we necessarily got to see her in enough individual, challenges to win an individual immunity. So I don't really know how she's going to fare there. But I think she's someone who's going to kind of coast through and then catch you by surprise.
I can see her coasting through. Yeah.
I think she's got a better chance than we might expect. And for that reason, I've put her at number 7.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Higher than me. I have her at 13, but you have her 7. Very nice. So top tier for you. All right. Let's move on from Emily Flippin to what about Genevieve? Genevieve played on Survivor 47, where she had her journey of sorts from I'm not going to care about anybody to, oh, I guess I should care about people that might actually help me. She finishes in 5th. And frankly, I think there was a world where she could have won her season. I do think Genevieve could have reached Final 3 and won. She dropped the ball in many ways early on in the game, but I think by the end of the game, we were all like strong contender. Shoot, dude, right behind Rachel. Like we wanted to rank her number 2 behind Rachel. At least I did. So Genevieve for
Absolutely.
me, she's the only one from 47 coming onto her season. I really like her photo, her new hairstyle. I want to throw that out there. She used to have long hair.
It's cute.
Is that called a bob? Is that what that is?
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like the bob. She's ranked number 11 for me. I have her middle of the road because I'm worried about. There's so many 46s and 48s, and that might be their detriment, but also starting off the season, that is a bonus. That these people know each other, and Genevieve just has nobody. Even Emily has D, and I know they're on different tribes, but like, so it's a really somebody. It's a good thing in a way where it's like Genevieve has nobody that she's already has a pregame alliance with, kind of like Jonathan, but also at the same time. What about Genevieve? We could just vote her off. That'd be an easy vote. Nobody's going to be annoyed if we vote her off. Like the exact pitch Keyshawn made is the exact worry I have about Genevieve. So what do you think about Genevieve?
I really like Genevieve. And I think with you, if Rachel hadn't won that individual immunity, I think it was Genevieve's game. I would say 47 is not one of my favorite seasons, but Genevieve and Rachel I'm big fans of. And I think Genevieve actually is the player who can make it work not having anyone on her season because again, similar to Emily, not one-to-one, but she was someone who proved that she was adaptable and could see the flaws in her games or her game and then go from there. I realized she felt like, she became a villain and that she didn't know anyone and that was to her detriment. But like you said, it was all at the beginning of the game and she was able to turn it around. I think she's a smart player. I think she holds her own whenever there's challenges pre-merge. I think she's got a great shot and I think she's going to be underestimated. And I think because she's not one of the bigger, more notable players, that's going to allow her to progress. And so boldly, I have put her at number 2.
Hey, I can't even knock your number 2 because I have somebody ranked super high who we're about to talk about that people are going to be like, what the heck? You have that person that ranked that high? So I'm not going to sit here and be like, Genevieve number 2. I will say I still can't believe you put Charlie number 1, but
I know, it's bold.
Genevieve 2, no, I see it. I just can see somebody literally going, what about Genevieve? We could just vote Genevieve off. And I'm like, oh no, it's happening again. And I don't know why.
History repeats itself.
It's like a nightmare I'm having when I go to bed. I'm like, oh no, what about Genevieve?
But she survived. She survived the first time. She will survive the second.
Yeah, she did. And thankfully, Rome, if you want to roam around the world, told her because that's how she found out. Is Rome going to be there to save her this time? No, he will not be.
No, he's not.
No, he will not. I can't believe Rome. I can't believe we're talking about like Rome saved somebody, but he did. People, he did.
But he did. They were allies.
Dislike Rome all you want, but he saved Genevieve, and we all love Genevieve. So, all right, well, let's move on. Our next player is Jenna Lewis. She played on Borneo, where she was labeled as a loudmouth by Rudy. And she was part of the infamous Pagong tribe that couldn't get their act together in time to fight against the Toggy, so she gets knocked out. J for Jenna, the infamous J for Jenna, as Sean does his alphabet strategy. She then comes on All Stars, where she's like, these winners have got to go. And that's stuck in my brain ever since. She then finishes in 3rd on All Stars, losing to Boston Rob and Amber. Of course, it would have been a much worse season had she won, and it's not because of Jenna. It's because I think Boston Rob and Amber having their storybook finish is what makes that season okay. Whereas like had Jenna won, it'd be like, definitely a season that happened that we all watched together because it really went downhill after like episode 4. Anyways, so Jenna, All Stars gets 3rd though. I mean, improvement. She clearly improved on her first time playing. I think Jenna, it's been so long. She played pre-Idols. she played so long ago. Jenna's perception is going to be, oh yeah, I remember her, kind of. But I think it's a good thing. So Jenna, I think, is almost coming in with not a blank slate, but as close to one as you can get on this cast. So what Jenna wants to be perceived as is all up to her. Now, I understand it's a returnee season, so people have been pre-gaming. Who knows what perception she's put on people by pre-gaming with each other. For those who don't know what that is, it's just, I mean, these people kind of piece together who's going to be on Survivor 50 by talking to each other. So, like, surely there has been people talking to each other, like, who's going to be on 50? Oh, you're going to be on 50? Do you want to work together kind of stuff?
Right.
So I want to say there's going to be some perception, I'm sure, of her. It's not going to be completely blank slate, but she's about as close as it gets because she could totally change people's minds. I don't know. I don't think Jenna... I don't know what she does. I have her... and this is like, she's the biggest question mark for me. I took a gamble here. I rolled the dice. I put her at 3.
Oh, wow.
Right.
You really did.
I really did. I was thinking, like, truly, I'm like, okay, if Jenna reaches final 3, can Jenna win? Wouldn't it be she has to present it, though. This is the perfect circle. I played on season 1. Here I am on season 50. You know, like but Jenna was very talkative her first 2 times. I'm a very talkative person as well, as everybody knows on this podcast. And I think the older she gets, the more mature she gets. She's now 47. If she has matured in a good way and not matured and sucked her guns, but matured as a person, I think Jenna could be the right balance of very talkative and goofy in a way that appeals to the new era, but also is an older person, therefore can relate to older. I think she could toe the line. I think she could balance between the two. Whereas I think somebody like a Colby is purely old era. Like I don't see Colby appealing to new era. Like I can't see Colby even trying to appeal to the new era. Colby's not going to have a sob story. Okay. Colby's not sob storying. There's going to be no emotional sob story from Colby. If there is, I will laugh. There's no way. I mean, I will laugh, even if it's real. I'll be like, come on, no way they got this out of Colby. But anyways, I don't want to say that and watch him have like the best sob story of the whole season. Jenna Lewis, though, I could see her towing both eras and appealing to both eras. And because of that, I put her at 3.
Wow. Yeah, 3 is bold, but I'm not against it. I like Jenna. I'm with you on her being a blank slate because her seasons were so long ago. I enjoyed Jenna on her seasons, frankly. I think she's funny. I know that she frustrated, her tribe mates, but she wasn't a challenge threat then. I don't know if she'll be one now, but I do recall...
Challenges have changed drastically since season 8.
Drastically. So maybe this is her forte, these style of challenges. I do recall, though, her tending to know where the votes were going, so she did have social chops back then. But like you said, I think it being so long is to her advantage, and she really gets to decide what she wants to be. And I think you brought up a good point of her being able to flex between new era and old era. I think she'll be able to do that well. And like you said, also, I feel like I'm stealing all your points, okay. Only to give her a totally different ranking. But I think if she made it to the end, I think it's a beautiful circle, full circle, to go from the first season to the 50th season and finally be a winner. That said, though, I think for my ranking, time works against her because we just don't know enough. It's been so long. I may be misremembering, but I think I heard that she has kept up with the show and has watched the seasons.
I believe that.
So that's to her advantage.
Yeah, I believe that.
But for me, she's middle of the pack. So I put her at number 10 because I'm just not sure.
That's fine. Me putting her 3 is a huge gamble, but I was like truly thinking, I think she's one of the few old schoolers who could toe the line and appeal to new school and old school. And that was a huge factor for me to push her up to the top 5. Whereas had I thought she was purely old school, Jenna would have been in my middle tier. But because I'm like, I think she could appeal to both. I think she could do it. I put her in the top tier. So, all right, let's move on to Joe, who we last saw, feels like months ago, but it was actually a year ago.
True.
Survivor 48, where he reached the final 3 and finished in 3rd to the shock of all of us. I think everyone entered that final tribal like, okay, he finishes in 2nd to Kyle. No, he loses to Eva too. What? The show was in love. Well, the show was in love with Joe, and I mean in love with Joe.
So were you.
No, it wasn't that I was in love with Joe in particular. I just thought that the show loved him so much he was going to win. Like, I'm not going to back down and pretend I didn't think Joe was going to win. I thought he was going to win. I'm just baffled by the edit they gave him, considering he finished in 3rd. It wasn't like, oh, I was robbed in 2nd. It's like, no, he was horrendous in the final tribal. That alone has me where I put him in 15th. He is in the bottom tier for me. He's at the top of the bottom tier because I could see him reach a final 3 again. Do I think Joe learned any lessons, though, a year later about how to appeal to the jury? I don't think so. I'm not saying he hasn't. I'm saying that Joe performance was so horrendous. I don't think a year's enough time to improve upon what I witnessed in that final tribal. It was horrendous. Absolutely zero attempt to appeal to that jury. Nothing. He just kind of got there and was hoping that they voted for him. That's what it felt like. He's like, oh, I prepared for everything but this part. Probably a very crucial, if not the most crucial part. Just drop the ball. So Joe, for me, 15th.
So I have a similar ranking to you with Joe because, one, it hasn't been that long. And frankly, this is a personal opinion. I don't know why Joe's on this season. I would have loved somebody else in place of Joe. But he's here.
Oh, did you not watch the edit of 488? I can tell you exactly why he's on the season. They loved him.
I know they loved him.
They loved him.
He seems great, but I would have loved someone else. But with Joe,
I agree.
he's very... How do I put it? I guess this is kind of always a topic of conversation, right? To an extent, you are a character when you're on a show like this. You're a real person, but you're leaning into a character. And sometimes we see people be kind of meta about that. And, Genevieve, I think, is a great example of peering into that while on the show. But for Joe, I think he's fully Joe. He is a loyal man. He wants to play in a respectable way for his family, which I don't think is a bad thing necessarily, but because of his intense loyalty, he's not necessarily thinking about the end. He's thinking about tomorrow and he's thinking about his people. And so to your point of has he learned from his gameplay? My immediate answer would be no, but I would follow up with, has he had enough time to do that? I don't think so. So he's middle of the pack for me. I mean, if he makes it to the merge, he can do individual, but in terms of pitching himself to a jury, I don't anticipate that going super well. I do think he could blend in. I think you said this earlier. He could blend in with the old era pretty well. I think he'll get along with anyone. I just don't think he knows how to pitch himself, and I don't think that's going to change this season. So for those reasons, he's number 13 for me.
I just can't see Joe convincing the jury, no matter which jury it is, old school, new school, evenly split. Joe might put in an effort this time versus last time. Does Joe have the skill set? It doesn't matter about effort. I mean, he didn't put in any effort last time, it felt like. But if he puts in effort, it's like, does Joe have the skill set? Like, I just don't know if he does to convince the jury.
Well, because it's not the same at all. It's just similar to me. I think kind of like Coach, who can't own his game. Joe is similar in a way of like, he doesn't want to make those deceptive moves for his game, like it's not him. I don't think he's going to do that. He's not going to necessarily backstab you, and he might have to. There's just certain things I think Joe is not willing to do. And even if he did them, I think he'd go to Final Tribal saying he regretted them, so.
What would happen? He goes to Final 3. What does he claim? What does he claim he did?
I don't know.
He needs to win immunities. And I know he was pretty good last time he played, but I don't know if this cast, if Joe's going to just dominate immunities. And is that enough? Maybe if Ozzy's on the jury, Ozzy might be like, you know what? I respect that because that's what I am as a challenge beast. But that's one vote. That's one vote on a jury of what? Jury's usually 8. We'll see if they hold to that this season with more players. It might be a jury of 10 or 12.
I could see that.
I could see them upping it to 12, but or something insane like that. I just don't think it's gonna be the whole cast. It's not going to be Winners at War, for example. There is no Edge of Extinction or whatever to make that happen. But yeah. All right. So Joe is pretty low for both of us. Middle tier for you, low tier for me. Our next player is Jonathan, who last played on Survivor 42. The only person I got to throw out there from the pre 90 minutes, the first 4 New Era seasons, the old New Era, not the new era. I would actually split up the New Era by pre and post 90 minutes. I gotta say, he's the only one from pre 90 minutes. He finished in 4th, losing in fire making to Mike. However, I don't think Jonathan, if he wins fire making, wins that season. That seemed very much that season was very much not for Jonathan to win, is the nicest way to put it. Like, it was not going to happen. So Jonathan was not winning that season. Jonathan coming into the season, I believe it or not, he's only 32. I thought he was older than that. He's only 32.
Oh, wow.
You're right. I thought he was older. He looks, just because he looks older with all that muscle. Jonathan, for me, I have decently ranked at 12 because I'm not sure how the jury is going to lean. If Jonathan reaches Final 3, is he going to be like a Joe where he just doesn't know what to do in a Final Tribal? And I'm like, oh, Jonathan, come on, do something. That's what I'm kind of worried about. I think Jonathan could reach Final 3. He almost did it last time. can Jonathan convince the jury to vote for him is my biggest question. And that's why I have him ranked where I do. What do you think about him?
Well, I don't have him ranked as high. I actually have Jonathan ranked quite low. The reason being, you just made a comparison to Joe, but what I would add for Jonathan is I felt that he had a poor social game in 42. I felt that he was rubbing people wrong, and there were times at Tribal where he was just blunt in a way that did not serve the purpose he needed it to. And
but that was Survivor 42. Think of this season's cast.
And I am thinking of this season's cast. I am not anticipating any of the new era folks being pro Jonathan when he's doing social game stuff.
But there are 12 other people who I think might, I don't know if all old era, but I think there's enough people here who would respect it, honestly.
I'm not inclined to think that personally.
Really?
I'm not thinking that, I don't know, just the way he comes across when he's speaking, I can anticipate that some of the old era are also not going to like it.
Okay.
I think he's someone to keep, because I think he thrives in tribe challenges. Obviously, he did win 2 individual immunities. And I mean, he's a beast of a man. I love watching him in a tribe challenge because what was it? That water challenge where he's quite literally pulling the entire tribe?
Single-handedly carried his tribe.
He's the only person putting in effort. They're just trying to hold on.
I'm with you. I don't think he goes pre-merge at all. I think he's guaranteed to make post-merge.
Yeah, because you need him if you want your tribe to win, I think. But again, I just think his social game is a detriment. It's not even that he coasts. I think it's that he rubs people wrong. And I think that's not going to help him. And so even if he made it to the final 3, I don't see him getting any votes or doing anything there. So I could be wrong, but for all of those reasons, and I feel like I'm speaking like Shark Tank every time I say that phrase, but for those reasons, I have ranked him number 21. So he's very low for me.
Hey, Mark Burnett made both shows, this and Shark Tank, so it's all connected.
Hey,
in a way.
What can I say?
Jonathan, I have the same issue of Jonathan reached final 3. Can he win? That's my question. He needs to sit next to like Coach and Joe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But how is that final 3 going to happen? Is it going to happen?
I don't know.
Right.
It's not.
The likelihood of an all male final 3 is lower than an all woman final 3. I saw there was a lot of praise last season for 49. It was like an all woman final 3. I was like, shoot, when was the last time an all men did it? It was season 21, Nicaragua.
Oh, wow.
It has been so long. And I know Wu and Tony were the final 2, but I don't know. They were very specific about final 3, the way it was up on social media. And I was like, wow, it's really been that long. So I guess if you want to say all men, just final period, Wu and Tony, though it definitely wasn't like, it was Wu made a mistake. That was not because they were a lot. That wasn't because of we're all men. But then 21, they wanted Fabio gone and they wanted, I believe, Holly there. So it wasn't intended to be all men as well. You can argue whatever you want to argue. I'm just saying that it's like the all men actually happens less frequently than all women. So it's like, what are the odds of Joe, Coach, and Jonathan? Sure, I could see them making an all men's alliance. I just don't see it working out. Right. Will it actually happen and then work? Right. So Jonathan, I'm worried about him in a final 3, honestly, at the end of the day. Let's move on to Kamilla from Survivor 48. Kamilla last finished by losing in fire making. We're going to say that a few times because it sounds like, oh no, they were so close to winning it because they lost in fire making. But there's 5 people here who lost in fire making, and it kind of just blends into the crowd at that point. What do you think about Kamilla?
Yeah. I like Kamilla. However, having Kyle on this season is not going to help Kamilla. So, obviously, when you look back at season 48, you kept hearing about their alliance. Did you know they were in an alliance? I don't know if you did. Kyle and Kamilla?
Her and Joe?
No, Kamilla and Kyle.
What?
I know. Isn't it surprising?
Was that a secret scene? That was a secret scene.
Yeah, totally secret. So anyways, she was a very loyal ally to him. However, he's on this season, and I frankly don't like that for either of them because I wish they had the ability to separate.
They need the other one gone. Other one gone. Yeah,
absolutely. There's no world where they can work together, and they don't start on the same tribe, which is helpful. But I do think she's got a better shot than him. I know we'll talk about him soon. She has great strategy. She just lacked the social prowess to be able to pull it off last season. I think that's how they worked as a pair. She's very loyal. She's excellent at puzzles. She's got a lot of smarts. She's just got to find that foothold. I do think if she can stay separated from Kyle, and especially if Kyle is gone quickly, I think she has the ability to, be a chameleon. Kamilla, she can stay hidden for a while.
Chameleon. Yes.
Yes, exactly. If she can be inspired by that song specifically and be a chameleon, I think she's got the chance to go. She's kind of in, like the Emily category, and soon you'll hear later, the Tiff category for me of like, you didn't win, you did stand out in your own way a bit, but I think that is going to help you this season. Again, for her, she's got to lose Kyle to be able to do it. But anyways, all of that to say, she is the very bottom of my highest tier at number 8.
Kamilla, I struggle to think if she was going to convince the jury to vote for them to vote for her if she reached final 3 last time, whether she was versus Kyle or not versus Kyle, doesn't matter. Could she convince the jury? Here's the thing. Mary then talked to me on our last podcast Mary and I did preseason of 50. And Mary's like, Wesley, remember, Kamilla basically was like guiding Kyle towards explaining things she knew the jury wanted. And I'm like, that's a good point. Kamilla knew what to be fair, she was on the jury, therefore got to talk to him, but she was only there for one night. Like, how much did she really learn? Right. How much did she really learn with them? I think she had a good read before that. And because of that, actually, if Kamilla at 10, and I know it's not super high, my struggle is, will Kamilla reach final 3? Because I think if Kamilla reaches final 3, I do think there's a chance that she wins. Again, I think a new era jury favors Kamilla, but I can also see old schoolers respecting her as well. And she's coming this season with my opinion, a low target. Kyle is the big factor here, Kyle existing. And the fact that there are 348s, 346s, I think is a factor. I know there's 3 Dave versus Goliaths. I don't think that's going to be as noticeable as the 346s, 348s. So Kamilla, I think Kamilla reaching final 3 is my struggle. It's not Kamilla convincing a jury. I think it's her reaching final 3. I have her at 10, which is my top half and in my second tier. But yeah, Kamilla, I like Kamilla. Can Kamilla reach final 3? What do you think? Do you think she can reach final 3?
Honestly, I do think Kamilla could reach final 3. Like I said, she's got that social strategy. And as you / Mary pointed out, like she knew what they wanted and she didn't have a lot of time to learn it. She's just got to separate from Kyle, really separate from anyone who was on her season. Not that I anticipate her being with Joe too much. And I think, you kind of touched on this. Kamilla has the flexibility, in my opinion, to work with the new era and the old era, and I think she'll play that to her favor. So I think it's a difficult path, but I could see her making it. I wouldn't be surprised if she made it to the final tribal. Yeah, I would have had her ranked lower is what I'm saying. I know 10 doesn't sound super high, but I would have had her ranked lower had Mary not been like, yeah, but remember, she knew what the jury wanted, and she basically helped Kyle, who was not giving the jury what they wanted, until Kamilla was basically leading a horse to water. She couldn't make him drink, but she was like, come on, Kyle, give them what they want. You can do it. Yes, you can do it, Kyle. So yeah, Kamilla number 10 for me. All right, our next player is, speaking of which, Kyle from Survivor 48. He's a winner. Always together. Right. He's a winner. Keep in mind, for us, it was a year ago that 48 happened. For everyone on the season, they just watched the TV product finish a week prior to going to Fiji. They just watched this happen. They just witnessed him win. He's number 23 for me. They just watched him win. They just saw this. He's top of mind. He doesn't have a chance. No way. No way. Yeah. Not enough winners here. There's not a lot to be added to that. And I think my ranking of him is not going to reflect what I'm about to say, but Kyle's got no shot. He's so likable. He's so strategic. He's not a huge personality, which works in his favor. And I feel like he knew how to play the middle well while keeping loyalty with Kamilla. But I don't think he's going to have Kamilla again, even though she is on the season. I don't think him being a winner is going to help. I don't think being on the Purple Tribe is going to help. I think, honestly, he would be the first one voted off. Oh, yeah. The trash tribe. Yes, unless someone gets tired of like Q or Rizzo, then I could see them going before him. However, again, in my rankings, I did put the winners above certain character hires / another somebody that we'll find out about later. I placed him at 18th, but I can't emphasize enough that my low tier still means I don't think they have a chance. I just think if somehow all of these people in the lower tier were the final 8, I think he's got a better chance than anyone but one. So
I think if all three winners reach the final three, they're all not reaching it together, though. That would be insane. If
that would be insane.
If any of the winners reach final three, like, I'd put my money on them. It doesn't matter who else is there. I don't care if Cirie's there. Well, I take that back.
That's the one I would not
Cirie's
pick.
the one non-winner. Yeah, I'd probably. But like, if Kyle's sitting next to like Jenna Lewis and Coach, like, Kyle's winning. Yeah, I'm just the random names pulling out of my butt here. But yeah.
But he's got more combinations he could beat if he made it. I just don't think that he will.
He's just not. Who's going to let him get there? Yeah, I'm on the same boat.
Nobody.
Yeah. All right, well, let's move on to our next player, who is Mike White from Devens vs. Goliath. Mike White finished in second. And in many people's opinion, they believe that Mike White kind of threw Final Tribal. And it was kind of just like a rumor. And then Jeff, believe it or not, I watched an interview with him within the past year where I forgot which, it was a radio show. And I have the clip from it. I still have it in front of me to tell you what the source is exactly. But Jeff basically confirmed that theory. And I think it was just Jeff's opinion. Jeff's not like, hey, Mike White, did you throw Final Tribal? If he did ask Mike White, it's not Jeff's place to say that, if that makes sense. I don't think Jeff would. But Jeff basically said, my opinion is that I believe Mike White held back at Final Tribal because he's like, I already have money. I don't need the million. That was Jeff's opinion. So Jeff's opinion, Mike White could have won had he tried. Now, with that in mind, Mike White, when he was on Devens vs. Goliath, I played a couple seasons of Amazing Race, was best known for being Ned Schneebly on School of Rock, and he's been in Hollywood. But since then, Mike White has become famous. He's gone from being like somebody you knew existed from some things to now he runs the White Lotus show, which has cameoed people from Survivor. And I think because of that, Mike White, his name went from being like what it probably would have been middle of the road to top of the board. Either A, people have theorized you're either sucking up to Mike White to get on the White Lotus, or B, you target Mike White because of White Lotus, because he is so famous. Why are we letting this multimillionaire compete with us? I think the prize has increased this season. I forgot exactly who told me that. Maybe it was you, Madison. Maybe it was Rebecca. Maybe it was Mary. Somebody told me that the prize this season has been increased. I don't know if that's for the winner. I do know it's for everyone else. From last place through second, I believe it's increased. Although we'll find out on the show. I don't know if they'll talk about it. But I just can't see anybody being like, oh, we really need Mike White to stay so he can make more money. I can see people be like, screw Mike White, get him out of here. I could see that sentiment more so than I could see, let me suck up to Mike White. There'll be a few suck ups, but I just don't think there'll be enough. I think Mike White is a pre-merge boot, my opinion.
Yeah.
And because of that, I have Mike White ranked down at number 19. What about you?
I have him a little higher than you, but still mid-tier for me. I see both sides of the coin, and frankly, that's why he's difficult for me to rank. And I hate that my rankings, honestly, are moderately based off White Lotus, because I really could see people wanting to buddy up to him to be able to be on the show. However, I think a counterpoint to that is I don't think that Angelina really buddied up to him by the end of Devens vs. Goliath, and she was on the show. So, I mean, who's to say?
It's post-game buddying up. I see what you're saying.
Yes. Who's to say if that's really what caused it?
Weren't her and Mike in an alliance, though? Weren't they in an alliance? Then that's how they got to Final Three, right? Or am I forgetting?
They started together, then she drove him crazy. He did not want to work with her, and then they ended up working together again. So They had a tumultuous relationship, if I recall correctly. But
then post-game, he's not living with Angelina every day of his life. He's only talking to her occasionally, which probably helps their relationship.
Yeah. But, I think if I were to look at his gameplay from Devens vs. Goliath, I hadn't thought of him not applying himself at Tribal before, and I actually haven't heard that discourse before, though I totally believe you. I considered him a social threat. I considered him generally likable. On a very memorable season, he wasn't afraid to say how you were making him feel, and he also tended to be the one to say what others were thinking. And so I found those to be beneficial. But again, does that translate to new era? Because sometimes it's very kumbaya, and I don't know that Mike will necessarily pursue that. So he's really middle of the pack for the reasons you said and the reasons I just said. And so I put him at number 11, which truly is middle of the pack for me.
Yeah, Mike, I think I don't know if he knows this. I mean, I don't know if he knew this when they played. He needs to play the game like his back's to the wall. like he just needs to assume his back's to the wall. I don't know if he's going to enter the season thinking his back's to the wall, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I think
I would agree.
He might come in too comfortable and get kicked off before even realizing that he shouldn't have been as comfortable as he was. That's my concern with Mike.
Yeah, I could see that.
All right, let's move on from Mike White to Ozzy Lust. Ozzy played on Cook Islands, where he finished in second, losing by 1 vote to Yule. Played on Micronesia, where he was way too cocky and got blindsided, I believe, with an idol in his pocket, right where the post merge basically began. South Pacific is voted off pre-merge, though he did ask for it quite literally. Comes back in the game because of Redemption Island, knocks out Christine, then immediately gets voted off. In my mind, that's his real finishing on that season, is right after the post merge. Again, a la Micronesia, where he gets voted off because it's Ozzy and he wins challenges because he won like 5 individual immunities on Cook Islands. And then Game Changers, he goes off again right after the merge. So like, I know he actually finished the South Pacific in 4th, but in my mind, okay, there is no Redemption Island this season. Ozzy is a second placer, followed by right after the merge, right after the merge, right after the merge. And to me, that's probably his ceiling, is right after the merge. Again, it's Ozzy. I know he's 40. He looks, some people joked he looks geriatric. I wouldn't say that, but Ozzy does not.
My gosh.
He doesn't look like his 20-something-year-old self that we saw the first 2 times.
No.
So people are like, oh, he looks so old now. He's only 43. So like, he looks in shape still. However,
yeah,
I just don't see people letting Ozzy get too far. Like, sure, he can get through the pre-merge because of like him and Jonathan are in different tribes. Jonathan's challenge beast, so is Ozzy. Ozzy helps his tribes win immunity in challenges. So I can't see Ozzy going up pre-merge, but I can see we reach the merge. Let's vote off Ozzy. Why not?
Yeah.
We've done it 3 other times,
I'm
basically.
with you.
Yeah. And also, Coach is on this season. I don't know if him and Coach still have beef. I don't throw it out there because it kind of ended 23 with beef. And I don't know if Ozzy's the kind of guy or Coach the kind of guy to reach out to each other and resolve their beef. Does that make sense? Are those two that kind of people? I don't know. So, not that anyone else here has beef with Ozzy, but Coach might. They're on different tribes. Who knows that'll count. So, Ozzy, I just don't see Ozzy reaching Final 3. Period. I don't
either. His
social game seemed almost exactly the same across all 4 seasons. So when he's not the underdog, it's just like Ozzy's kind of full of himself and a jerk. And it's kind of like what Jonathan said during Final Tribal of Cook Islands. I can't see giving $1 million to someone who is entitled and acts like a prince. And it's like, at the time in that season, that didn't make sense. But then you watch all of his other seasons, you're like, in retrospect, Jonathan had it nailed. So Ozzy for me is number 18. I can't see him reaching Final 3. And if he does, is Ozzy actually going to say anything other than, well, I was like great out there. I was like the best and I won challenges and I fished for you all. I provided you all food. Like, Ozzy, you've said this 5 times in a row.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing with Ozzy. If you've seen one of his seasons, essentially you've seen his gameplay for all of his seasons. Like, he doesn't change it. He doesn't really adapt it.
Yeah, he's basically been the same all 4 seasons.
Yeah. And, you know, I think he's going to vibe with Joe. I'm just calling it now because they're going to want to provide for their tribe and they're going to be strong and all of that stuff.
And they're on the same tribe. Ozzy, that's why you said that. Yeah.
Yes. Ozzy is the type, I think you've said this, you keep him until the merge and then see Ozzy. He's, even if he did make it to the end, as you just said, he's got 1 pitch and 1 pitch only. I provided for you all and I was strong and I won challenges.
Right.
Frankly, I don't think that's enough, no matter who the jury is this season. So, I mean, could he pull it off? Maybe.
Right.
I'm not counting on it. So he's right in the middle for me at 15.
I think that 4th place finish on South Pacific kind of like taints our view. I'm like, oh, Ozzy was so close, and he was, but like, let's remove Redemption Island because it's not this season. It's like, 2nd, sure, but then right after the merge, and it's like, there's just a pattern.
Right.
And he acted exactly the same on Micronesia, South Pacific, and Game Changers. And it's just like, okay, well, I just can't. I mean, sure, it has been a while since Game Changers. It has been 8 or 9 years since then, but is Ozzy different?
But if you think about it,
is Ozzy different?
There was a similar time gap between Game Changers and South Pacific. I mean, it's a little more now, but he didn't change then.
Right. It was 11 seasons between those two, so about 5 or 6 years. Here it's 16 season difference. So yeah, a couple more years, but like, yeah, he was almost the same. And unless Ozzy has, found Jesus or something, you know what I mean? Like, has Ozzy changed? I just don't see it. So yeah, Ozzy for me, I have ranked at 18. Where do you have him ranked again?
I have Ozzy ranked at 15.
Ozzy above Aubry. That's going to be the comments. They're going to be like ripping us for our, hey, it's hard to rank all 24. Let me tell you, with almost no information
hard.
except for this trailer. Mr. Beast briefcase, Billie Eilish boomerang idol. Like, okay, Candace. All right, let's move on to Q. Q, Survivor 46, tried to quit 3 times still, despite trying to quit 3 times, still reached 6th place. I will say, though, I don't think Q's shenanigans are going to get him very far this time. Last time, nobody knew who Q was, and he was on a disaster tribe that literally had like Bonu having a mental breakdown on the island.
Poor
saying,
Bonu.
I was here to win 1 million hearts, which is where our phrase number 1 on the chart, or sorry, number 2 on the charts, number 1 in your hearts came from. Like, it spawned from Bonu talking about how you wanted to win 1 million hearts. We're like, that's funny. So that's where our phrase came from, in case anybody's ever wondering. Q on a disaster tribe, makes the merge, and then just like things generally go his way. But then the moment they don't go his way, he tries to quit. 3 times he tried to quit. And it was the 3rd one that really did him in terms of his chances of winning. Q is here to cancel everything. Your doctor's appointments, Christmas, everything. He's on the disaster tribe, though, and I just see Q being a pre-merge boot.
Yeah, I do too. Q, for me, honestly, from the bottom of my heart, is who I am most excited to see, and I'm anticipating not seeing him for very long.
I'm anticipating he's a 2-episode wonder, like 2 episodes and he's gone.
Oh, 100%, 100%. He's so fun. He's a funny narrator. He's such a character hire. And he's going to be with Aubry, Colby, and Stephenie. So how long is that going to last? And even if it wasn't like his tribe, he's still not going to win. Because frankly, I don't know that he ever really showed strategic chops. And I don't recall him standing out in challenges. He has standout moments that are funny.
Well, the only challenge he won was the one where Liz got really mad she can go to Applebee's. That's the only one he won.
Which, you know what? Iconic moment.
Iconic.
But is that going to get him anywhere in 50? No, it's not. So frankly.
Can I ask this is a very big question, Madison. Who thought, somebody thought it was funny. Colby is on the same tribe as Angelina, Q, and the Rizgod.
They wanted to hurt that man. He's going to have such a hard time.
They wanted to hurt that man. Q and Rizgod and Angelina all in the same tribe as Colby. Colby's the straight man of this comedic like group. No doubt about it. It's going to take us all back to, what was it? Treasure Planet, him, Amanda, and... I'm trying to watch Treasure Island, he said, as they're fighting.
Oh, Treasure Island, yes. Yeah. It's going to be like that from the start.
They're going to be, Colby, aren't you going to help me? I'm just trying to watch Treasure Island.
He wants some peace, and he is not going to find it on this season.
Colby in his normal life does not hang out with anybody like Angelina, Q, or the Rizgod, which just, to me, is just like comedy waiting to happen. It has to be. Oh,
truly.
Colby reacting to them being themselves is enough for me. I'm so looking forward to this tribe. Every moment they're on screen, I just anticipate craziness. So
I can't wait.
I'm sorry. I know we're talking about Q. I was just like, can't believe they put Colby on the same tribe as these people.
It's going to be great.
Rank number 17 for me. What about you?
He is a whopping number 23 for me.
All right, let's move on to Rick Devens. Last played on Edge of Extinction. Got voted off 4th, but then came back in the game and finished in 4th. So with that in mind, Rick... coming into this season, also an On Fire co-host. I know we haven't mentioned that for everybody, but because when we had Rachel on our podcast during 49, she was a little salty. She sounded a little salty from my opinion that all the On Fire co-hosts were asked, except for her. Rick Devens was the original On Fire co-host, player-wise. Anyways, I'm going to throw that out there. He really, in my opinion, needs to lean into, hey guys, I was voted off 4th. I only came back because of that twist, Edge of Extinction, that everybody basically agrees they don't like. You know what I mean? Like, that would be me if I was Rick on the show. I'd be like, guys, like, I got voted off 4th. Like, I'm really the only pre-merge boot here. I know Aubry.
No, that's true.
Aubry went up pre-merge, but like, let's be real. Aubry's made it past the merge. Rick's only played once, and he was a pre-merge boot. So Rick needs to lean into that hard.
If you want to get really down into it, like, would that season have been as good if you truly focused on Chris the whole entire time? Because it would have made the winner super obvious. So of course Rick got some attention.
I actually think the season's better because Chris was not Chris was not that entertaining. He was there and he won and he did what he did. But like, if Chris was there present for every episode, didn't get voted off. Yeah. Like, Devens made the season. Yes,
he did. He's so enjoyable, funny, smart. I liked him a lot, and I'm with you. I think he needs to lean into the fact that, Edge of Extinction existed, and that's why he made it as far as he did. If not for that, he wouldn't have, so lower threat level, obviously. But if you've paid any attention to his game, though, he's got some strategic chops there, and clearly he built strong enough relationships to help him in a season, mind you, that was very advantage driven and gifting advantages.
I love Devens. I'm looking forward to him playing. I have him at 7. I know a bit of that is biased. I think Devens is the perfect kind of person to sidestep chaos, cause chaos, but he plays he also won immunities. He won like 4 of them, and he played idols. He did so much in the post-merge of Edge of Extinction. His social game also was very inconsistent, and I mean that in a bad way. That was his biggest flaw in the post-merge. But a lot of that was painted by, I was voted off, and I have a little bit of vengeance in my heart for these people. I remember that scene with War Dog where War Dog's like just talking about working with him. He's like, yeah, War Dog, I'd love to work with you. And War Dog's like, yeah, okay. Well, he's like, except I don't want to work with you. He's like, I don't want to work with you. You voted me off. Like, that's Devens. And that's his flaw, is that kind of stuff. And of course, it has been like 7 years. He could have matured. He seems like a person who definitely could have matured. He doesn't seem like somebody who's going to be so stuck in their ways they're going to be basically the same, like an Ozzy, for example. Yeah. I could just see him sidestepping chaos, causing chaos. And if he reaches Final 3, Devens is not a surefire to win, but a good chance. He's got a great chance. The jury loves Devens. People love Devens. Devens very likable.
Well, and I think too, though, like kind of a little different from your point about his social game. It was at least strong enough with I think Chris, to be to his benefit. So he knows how to find a loyal ally. It's just, it's like our actual Survivor board game experience that you all will one day hear about. When you have to vote someone out and then they come back, that really comes back to haunt you. So I can't blame him for his vengeance. I
don't blame him either. I'm just saying his biggest flaw is going to be if he's his emotions dictating his social game, which we're all human. Yeah. And in a way it happens to all of us. But you got to be able to move past that. And Rick's 7 years older now.
True.
He's
older
more
and wiser.
Now, right? He's 41 now. So he's in his 40s. He's a dad. I think he was a dad before. I know he's married for sure. I don't know if he had kids last time. I'm sorry for forgetting everybody's personal lives. I say that as if somebody's going to come for me for it, but I just don't remember everybody's personal lives.
Christina is going to be in the comments asking you what you know about each person.
Oh my gosh. Okay. That was a fantastic Final Tribal question. I stand behind it.
It was great.
Christina. Yes, that's what she's referencing is the 49 Final Tribal question of Christina. Devens for me, I ranked at number 7. What about you?
I am just about as unreasonable as you, and I placed him at number 5.
Hey, I don't mind it. Devens, I like Devens. I hope he does just what he did last time. And I think he was good at fire making, by the way. He lost because Chris was better, but Devens was not bad. I want to point that out. And I bet you he's practiced since then, because I'm sure it's all anybody's asked him about. It's like, Devens, you worked on fire, right? Like, you had to. Speaking of somebody who did not at all change in between their seasons, probably because they didn't have a chance to, the Rizgod. Rizgod from Survivor 49, the only player here who's in their 20s. And I gotta say that when I made my rankings, I didn't think about that. So it should have factored more. I didn't either. He is 25. He's the only one in their 20s here. He's on the Purple Tribe with Colby. Colby's gonna be like, who's the Rizgod? What's a Rizgod? What's Riz? Is that your actual name? And Rizzo's gonna be like, yeah. I don't know. Rizzo would probably admit the truth. It'd be funny if you told Colby, yes, my name is Rizgod. Colby's like, parents
and call me that.
Parents can name their kids weird things nowadays. Rizgod lost in fire making, and he just blends into the crowd. There's like 5 people here who lost in fire making, or finished in 4th or whatever. Like, what else? Like, who cares? Like, that's just a whatever. The biggest thing for him, the biggest knock to him, is nobody's seen him play. That's also the biggest positive.
I agree.
I think that actually works in his favor. Had people seen him play, he'd be a bigger threat. But because all they're really going to hear is he finished in 4th and lost in fire making, also the winner of his season's here, he's going to be overlooked. They're going to talk to this guy and be like, he calls himself the Rizgod.
So don't take him seriously.
Don't take him seriously. But that's also a detriment. If he reaches Final 3, he needs a new era jury to win.
Yeah, 100%.
A new era jury to win. A jury of old schoolers not going to be like, let me give $1 million to the 25-year-old Rizgod. So I do have him at 5.
Sure.
He is in my top tier. That is all under the idea that there's a new era jury and not an old era jury. I got to be clear on that because an old era jury is probably not handing it to him. What do you think about the Rizgod?
I tried to balance out that concept, what you just said. If he needs new era, I don't see a world where the old era, if it's like a strictly old era jury, I don't see a world where he wins that. But I think to his strength is the fact that no one has seen his season. They just know that he's not the one who won it. And so I could see him, being someone who's able to give information on Savannah. Now, obviously, they're personally close. I don't know how that's going to translate to season 50. Because if I am correct, I believe they had 9 days between 49 ending and 50 starting.
Yeah, that's what they said.
So it's a very, very short amount of time. And they're probably still, him and Savannah are riding the high of their teamwork. So I don't know how that's going to impact him and if he's willing to share information on her. But if she's present, I don't know that he can pull the idol thing off again. And also, I don't know that that would work well for an old era. So he is quite literally perfectly in the middle for me because I could just see it going either way. And so he's number 12.
Wow, number 12. I can't knock you though. Mine was, I when I made it, I wasn't thinking about people's age. It's only in retrospect. I'm like, oh, the age might be a factor here for a jury. That's why he needs a jury of new era players who are all in their 30s. Because like 25 is not that far off. But I can't see somebody like a Cirie being like, yeah, let me give $1 million to the Rizgod.
Right.
Like
maybe. I mean, she did survive Big Brother, so maybe. But
yeah.
It's unlikely.
I'm just thinking with the old school players. Like, I just can't see them being like, yeah, the 24-year-old kid Rizgod, let me give him the $1 million. But anyways, right. I do really like Rizgod. Him and Savannah post game, they both did post game interviews with Jeff. Rizgod said he didn't work on puzzles or anything. Like, apparently that was Jeff's biggest fault with Rizgod was puzzles. And I'm like, that's not what stopped him from winning.
Right.
Was that what stopped Rizgod from winning? No, he did take advantage of a subpar cast strategically. I want to throw out there.
Sure.
Like he outperformed that subpar cast. This is not a subpar cast strategically.
Not at all.
For the most part. Like there's a couple of people here we've said like, oh, I mean, all right. But not most of them. Rizgod's real issue was fire making at the end of the day. I don't know if he wins though. And then of course he does his fake idol plays and that was annoying some people. It was like a one trick pony that he did like 5 times and people are like, okay, it was funny the first time, amusing the second, but now it's just like, now you're annoying me.
Grading.
Yeah, it's grading on people. So anyways, Rizgod said he didn't work on puzzles. He's like, I just hung out with family and Jeff and Jeremy on their podcast. What? And I'm like, was that his biggest issue? That's not what I remember. Of course, Jeff is also talking after having already watched 50 happen. It makes you wonder, oh no, does Rizgod get... Because Jeff, if you listen to the On Fire podcast, people, during the season, Jeff and company always, and I do mean always, from 44 through 49, talk about who is going to win the season the most. They won't say those words, but the person but we brought up the most from their notes, and I put that in quotes, I mean, it is their notes, but it's just like, what are the odds that we're always talking about the winner? Even on 48, where you think they would talk about Joe more often? No, Kyle was mentioned 3 times more than Joe, and they loved Joe in that show. But then the On Fire podcast, we're talking about Kyle for quite a lot for a person who is not really that big of a character. It's only because he wins. Every season, they always talk about the winner the most. They talk about Savannah the most in 49. They talked about Kyle the most. They talk about Rachel the most. It was just like, it's always the winner gets the most focus on that podcast. So like during the season, if you want to know who's going to win, that's your spoiler. Listen to the On Fire podcast. It might be different with the returnee season. I mean, I'm not saying it very well could be. Like Jeff might have his favorites and he wants to talk about them more. It's very possible, but I don't know. Like they've always talked about the winner the most. So just throwing it out there. Speaking, because on that was their issue with Rizgod. So Rizgod for me ranked number 5. Where for you again?
I have him sitting at number 12.
So let's move on to Savannah. Same season, Survivor 49 won. She revealed, not on Jeff's podcast, because I don't think Jeff wanted, I don't know, it wasn't brought up. She did not talk about what she did in between. She said she tried working out and she wasn't feeling as well as she did before 49 because she just starved for 26 days and is now prepping to play in her season. So she wasn't feeling as physically great as she did going into 49, which to me is a bad sign. Another bad sign is that you might be thinking, Savannah, nobody knows she won because nobody saw her season. That is not the case. In other post-game press, she revealed that everybody on this cast, in fact, all of the alumni, in her opinion, already knew that she won, and she found out on her way to Fiji via text. that people already knew that she won. There was no hiding this. Everybody knows. So whether the show acknowledges this information or not, everybody knows. And I believe that's a factor. Savannah, dead in the water, number 24 for me.
Yeah, I am going to be honest. I have her ranked higher than I think she should be because at the time of my writing, I was not aware of that fact, and I've since thought about it. And so I'm going to just go ahead and give my rating, but I'm going to give reasons that probably support yours a bit more. So I had her at number 17 because originally of the 3 winners, I considered her the best shot because there was going to be some mystery around her win. And I do think that that can still help her because no one outside of Rizzo knows how she won or her strategy. And frankly, I've heard very positive things about her strategy, such as, she would have conversations with you where she is talking, but people would realize after the fact that she never said a thing about herself. She kept turning it to you so she could learn about you. And she's shown, she knows how to talk well and to build relationships, even though she did kind of consistently say she was on the bottom. I don't know how true that was considering how tight her alliance was. But, all of that to say, everyone knew she won, and they did not know why, just that it literally just happened. And so to me, that is more of a negative than it is a positive. And like I've been saying this whole podcast, if you're in my lower tier, you're not winning, in my opinion. But I put her at 17, which was the highest of my lower tier. So I think in this moment, I would probably go back in time and change that. But I'm not going to because I think out of all of these people, again, if you had these last 8 as the final 8, I would put my money on Savannah still, but I don't anticipate that happening. There's going to be too many questions, and people aren't going to want to deal with those.
I think Savannah benefited greatly from a subpar cast. I do think that Savannah and Rizgod both did. I think Rizgod had moves, like whether people were mad at him or not about them, like he did make people think his idol expired at a different time, which saved him for a tribal. Will that work on 50? You know what, though? It might. And here's the reason why. There's so much nonsense we've already been told about. We haven't even been told about all the nonsense. We only know about some of the nonsense. And that's enough nonsense for me to be like, you might be telling me the truth. Who knows? Like, really, who knows if your idol really expires at 5 or 6? There's so much garbage this season. Who knows? You know what I mean? And
it's going to get lost in the shuffle.
Right. There's just so much. It's not like this season is we're doing no advantage. No, this is clearly, whether we voted for or not, maximum advantages or whatever the thing was called, dynamic, whatever the wording was that Jeff basically was like, casuals will vote for this. Dynamic advantages or whatever it was called. That's what I guess we've picked. I don't remember voting for celebrities. I don't remember that being on the voting, but
I didn't.
We didn't get to vote on other things. Did not get to vote on other things as well. So it wasn't like we had to vote for everything as much as the show is going to pretend that we did. It's gonna be like, remember when you picked dynamic? We meant celebrities. Haha, that wasn't in you didn't read the fine print, you morons. It was in the fine print. If only we had looked, we'd have seen we were voting for celebrities to be on the season. Anyways,
Dang it.
Savannah, yes, nobody knows who she is, but all they know is that she won. That's a threat. They haven't interacted with her on any deep level. A lot of these people have known each other for years. Savannah, they just met and she won. Threat.
Right. Literally just won 2 weeks ago.
They watched Kyle win on TV a week ago. Threat. It's just top of mind.
I mean, honestly, though.
Recency bias. All right, let's move on to Stephenie LaGrossa. She played in Palau, where she was an underdog on the Oolong tribe who got decimated till she was the last one left. We're all rooting for her. She then goes to, it's not merge, but it's a merge. It wasn't officially a merge. It was just the Karor tribe, but it was a merge. She goes to the Karor tribe and then proceeds to just like not try to win is the best way to explain it. I say this because nothing's changed. She goes to the Karor tribe. They're like, Jeff's like, if you want to not get immunity and jump for pizza, you can. Stephenie's like, yes, Stephenie, what? No, you're the only Oolong here. You're the only Oolong here. Proceeds to make it another vote or two, but it's like off of some serious nonsense. Point being, she did not do very well, even though she made post-merge. Not good at challenges, by the way. Goes to Guatemala, finishes in second. Believe it or not. But bad final tribal performance. Sure, in retrospect, the jury was not in her favor just because she was a returnee, I guess. But also, I think that perception could be overlooked if socially you do really well. People could be like, I do have a bias to this, but also I really like you. That was not the case. Rafe voted for her. That was the only vote she got. Lost Guatemala. Then comes back for Heroes vs. Villains, gets voted off second. A lot of that, again, was James is like, you're a curse on our tribe. Or she was off like third,
True.
I think. Sorry, third. James like, you're a curse on our tribe. You suck in challenges. She's like, what? We don't really get to see much for that season. So we then move on to today. It's like, oh, last time she played was Heroes vs. Villains, where she finished in getting voted off third. That's really good for her perception entering the game. But then we see her on other shows since then. She plays Snake in the Grass, and she is the worst Snake in the Grass in the history of that show that got canceled. I can easily say that. She was the worst Snake in the Grass on that one season show. Terrible. Could not, just absolutely horrendous. And then goes on the Traders, and it's just like, if she wasn't good there. I don't know how else to say this.
No.
Watch my video on the Traders if you haven't seen it, or just watch season 1 of the Traders. It's a really good season. But if you don't want to, watch at least my video, and you'll see that Stephenie's not good. She's just not good. She's not good.
Yeah.
And nothing has improved socially. She was never good in challenges. She's not very good socially. And it's like, what hope do I have for Stephenie to win? I don't. She might go to Final 3. I don't think she's convincing the jury to vote for her.
You know, Wesley, I mean, you took every word out of my mouth, and frankly, I'm just going to say she is my number 24 for everything you've just said.
She's the lowest.
She's truly the lowest for me.
Not Savannah, who everyone's going to be like, you just won. I can't let you do
Not
anything.
Savannah.
Wow. Stephenie for me is number
Nope.
20, right above all my winners / people who got robbed.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, they're all going to lose, but she's really going to lose.
Mary and I were in Fiji this past summer on our own dime. We didn't get paid. The show did not send us there. We're traveling there. We find some other Americans who also are there for Survivor. Everyone else is there because it's a nice resort. But these, we finally find somebody else as Americans, and we're talking about Survivor 50, and they're so excited. We're talking all about it. We don't talk about 49 at all. We talk about 50. Who do you think's going to win? Who do you think's going to win? Mary, dead tired. We're like, Mary, who do you think's going to win? She's like, Stephenie.
Record scratch.
all of us were like, wait, what, Stephenie? She's like, yeah, I can't think of anyone else who's on the season. That's what she'll say.
Oh my gosh.
And Mary afterwards was like, I couldn't think of anyone else who's on the season. But I just remember being so baffled. I'm like, Stephenie. And I think that's the only person in existence of mankind that thinks Stephenie's going to win 50 was that one day where Mary was dead tired and said Stephenie's going to win.
Mary's right. I'll be surprised. I'll buy her dinner or something.
I don't think Mary's going to stick to that winner pick, by the way. I just want to throw that out there.
No, I don't either.
I just want to give that context. We were all baffled. There were almost every name was thrown out there as a possibility. Even the people who were on 49, but not Stephenie. Not Stephenie.
Yeah. Well, and honestly, I'm confused as to her being on this season because she's been so terrible.
Her and Cirie must have the same agent because they've been on.
That's true. They're on everything together, it feels like.
Since Heroes vs. Villains, they've been on everything together, with the exception of Big Brother. And I wonder if Stephenie was offered, she said no or something. They've just been on everything together. It's do they have the same agent? I know Stephenie was on Australia versus the World. Okay, so sorry, not everything. But every time Stephenie's been on, Cirie's been there too. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't get it.
Yeah, I just don't think she's got it in the bag, and there's not honestly anything I can add that you have not already said.
Her and Ozzy were the two old schoolers. I'm I did not need to see again. I'm okay. I don't need to see
I'm
them
with
again.
you there.
There was new school players I think could have been swapped. We all say Carol and Jesse should have been there from new school, but Stephenie and Ozzy could have been dropped from the old school. I don't need to see them again at all. I was
I'm with
good.
you.
And I have nothing against Stephenie on a personal level, despite everything I've said. It's truly just I've seen her. I know she's not good, and she's not going to be interesting enough to make the season more interesting.
Yeah.
However, in her photos, she looks great.
Yeah, that's true.
She looks like she's in great shape. She's just never been good at challenges, though. I'm just not too high up on Stephenie. All right, well, with that, let's move on to our last player. Tiffany Irvin played on Survivor 46, finished in 8th place. I think is coming to the season with perfect perception. Tiffany who?
Agreed.
What do you think about Tiffany?
I think I'm excited for her because I enjoyed her on 46, but she was one of my, like, I'm not sure why you were chosen, but you know what? You're here. So let's roll with it. I think for that very reason, though, she's just not really going to stand out. And frankly, she's already survived on a disaster tribe, which to me, I think builds some strong survivor character because she was with Q and she was with Banu. And that's a lot to have to handle while starving.
Her scene of telling Banu to get off his knees and
lives in my head rent free all the time. Like, I think of that probably several times a week. But, you know, I felt like in her experience on Survivor in 46, she understood the game enough not to take things personally. And I think that was, you know, a benefit to her. There wasn't anything vengeful about her. She was a strong ally to Kenzie, and she did what Maria did not do. And she rooted for Kenzie and, you know, was there for her in the same way that, you know, Kamilla was. But I think because she doesn't stand out and there's kind of a question as to why she's on the season, that is precisely why I think she will go far. And, you know, I mean, one of the many people from 46 who went out with an idol in their pocket, she's got something to prove after that. So for me, she is actually ranked as number 6 because I think the lack of perception is really going to go, you know, in her favor. And I think she understands the game well enough to do something about it.
On one hand, I'm like, I really want to put her super high, and that's the hand I went with, by the way. I just want to be clear. On the other hand, on the other hand, I'm like, Tiffany could just be like somebody gets voted off, and I don't know.
We move on.
Yeah, like it just could just kind of happen. I don't feel very strongly one way or the other. I had to pick a side. I feel strongly about so many other people. Tiffany's one of those like she's 4. She's number 4. I have her really high. I think Tiffany is the perfect, if you look at the history of tourney seasons, kind of fits the mold of played recently, doesn't have a high perception coming in, has potential to do better than last time. And if she reaches the final 3, I could see her appealing to a new era and old era jury. I could see her appealing to everybody. Tiffany's not locked into like, she's not like a Rizgod where it's like, oh, you got to be a specific kind of person to want to pick this guy to win. I think even though she's only one spot above Rizgod, she has more appeal to a jury, which also, by the way, is how I feel about Aubry. I probably should put Colby lower based on this because I think Aubry, Jenna, and Tiffany, my 2, 3, and 4, all have old school and new school appeal. Whereas I think Colby is purely old school and Rizgod's purely new school. But like, that's kind of how I feel about my top 5. It's like, I think that if with the right jury, these people not sweep, but do really well. Whereas everyone else, I'm like, how do they get to final 3? Can they even convince the final 3? Tiffany's one of those people, I'm like, I could see her doing everything. It may not be super impressive. It may be a Sarah Lucina game changer situation where I'm not overly impressed, but like, you won.
Yeah, I could see that too. I think that's a good comparison there. And I think that flexibility between new era and old era, I really think that we're going to see that come through in this season as to who can play with everyone and who can only play with one half. And Tiffany being both is just another point in her favor. So I think it makes sense to have her in the top.
And you have her ranked where again?
I have her ranked as number 6.
So we're not too far off on that one. I don't think we copied each other in any of our rankings. Wow, Madison, for once you didn't copy me. Good job.
Oh, whatever.
For once.
I just have some chaotic choices for sure. So
it
just
helps
Charlie.
when there's
we'll
24 players and we have 0 evidence to go off of. Because watch
Truly.
week 1 happen and then you and I are all of a sudden in lockstep on like half the people.
I know. I was about to say, I'm totally prepared to see the first episode and then we're just pretty in sync.
Yeah.
We'll see that.
Yeah. Actually, so for those wondering, yes, this season Madison will be helping out as always, Rebecca and Mary. So Rebecca's going to do week 1. She always does the Wednesday podcast, but you're going to be doing, I think, about half, if not more than half the winner analysis this season, which is very exciting to have you and Mary like
excited
almost
to be
equally
here.
Doing the same number of podcasts. So you always bring a little chaos. Like Mary's very analytical.
That's what
Madison,
I'm here for.
you seem analytical, and then you'll just come out with the take. I'm like, what? But then
I have to have at least one thing, like one hot take every single episode strictly for your reaction.
But then it's like, I don't know, maybe Madison's right. And then I have to think on it. Then I have to think on it for
goal.
days. For days, it'll live in my head rent free. I'm like, Mary, why did Madison say this? And Mary's like, I don't know. Why don't you ask her? I'm like, I did. And that's why I'm asking you. So, yeah, hey, we ranked all 24 players and we did it in under 13 hours. Good job, Madison.
Amazing.
Wow.
We hit 12 exactly.
I'll have to edit this down to be less than our 13
truly.
hours that we almost hit. Yes, we appreciate you all listening. Truly, join our fantasy league if you want to play along. It's going to be a lot of fun this season. I think it's going to be a very unpredictable season. I think we all, unfortunately, 49 was not as fun to play because everybody kind of knew Savannah either won or she didn't win, but we all kind of thought she was going to win. So everyone kind of just leaned into picking her as their winner pick. So it made it a little bit more predictable. But then again, I finished in the bottom half. So I guess not, huh? I guess not. But this 50 is going to be true chaos. Like, will the Billie Eilish Boomerang Idol give me points? I don't know. Will Jimmy Fallon saving Christian Ubicki do anything for my fantasy team? I don't know.
It better.
Watch if Jimmy Fallon, by the way, hurts Christian Ubicki's chances of winning. I think we all boycott Jimmy Fallon on that basis alone.
I would be so upset.
Jimmy Fallon ruins Christian Ubicki's game. I'm boycotting the show.
I will live to see that day, Wesley.
I think Jimmy Fallon's kind of, and I say this in a nice way, he's kind of like a yes man, a very nice. He wants to be everybody's friend. So I don't see him ruining anybody's game. So like when Christian says that, it's like, does Jimmy Fallon have to, what does he have to do? Or does he just like get to make a call? I feel like that's too much to make a call. Does he come on the island to do a challenge? Like, what does that mean? It's games in his hands, you know?
I'm not awake late enough to know much about that man.
All right. Well, hey, we're greatly looking forward to Survivor 50. It's coming up soon. We thank you all for listening. We'll see you all next time.
Bye.